All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Arthur Jimenez. I'm the Director of Business Development here at PIDC. I'm here with my colleagues, Kersey and Marla. Could you introduce yourselves?
Hi, good morning. My name is Kersey Azokar, and I'm the program manager for the CHIRP grant.
Good morning, and I am Marla Hamilton. Here at PIDC, I manage our client engagement division, and so we are always looking to make sure that those of you who are PIDC clients and those of you in the general marketplace have all of the information that you need to make those decisions that help your business grow and thrive in the city of Philadelphia. So we are happy to host this webinar on today. This webinar will also be found on our website. If there's any part of it that you missed following today, go to our PIDC blog and we will put that information in the chat where you can replay. If you also want to get additional information, if there's a question that you forget to ask my colleagues Kersey or Arthur on today, PIDC is hosting this webinar again on next Wednesday at 10 o'clock. So just go to the PIDC website, register, and we look forward to seeing you again. Also, make sure you stay on to the end of today's webinar. We will give you a list of upcoming webinars hosted by PIDC. Okay, Arthur, thank you.
Thanks for sharing that, Marla. All right, so again, so I'll cover the, for those who have not applied yet, we will cover the eligibility requirements to see if you qualify for the CHIRP program. So we call it CHIRP, but it stands for COVID-19 Hospitality Industry Recovery Program. So we'll go a quick background of it, of the eligibility, and then we'll review the application. And we'll also talk about, I think we've seen some applications come in already, and we'll cover kind of commonly issues we've seen before, so you can help when you apply, you can try not to repeat those mistakes, and we'll just give you some other advice to apply. Okay. So quick background. So the Commonwealth of PA approved a $145 million grant statewide for eligible businesses within the hospitality industry to alleviate undocumented revenue losses and pay eligible operating expenses due to COVID-19 pandemic. So of that 145 million, there's about 17 million will be received by Philadelphia for Philadelphia-based businesses. And PIDC will be administering the program for the city of Philadelphia. And grants will be available for eligible business from $5,000 up to $50,000. The application has already been open for about 9 days now. It opened on March 15th at 11 a.m. And now applications will be accepted until 11:59 p.m. on April 5th. So we are about halfway there now. And no applications are really being scored during this period. So this is not a first come, first serve grant program. We're allowing all applicants to apply during this period. And then only on April 6th will we start prioritizing and reviewing applications in detail. And all this information can be found on our website at pidcphila.com/CHIRP. I'll show you that right after the slide of this presentation. So these are the eligibility requirements to see if you're an eligible business. And I'm not going to read all these words. I'm just going to cover overall what eligibility looks like. So number one is you have to be physically located in Philadelphia County. If you are, so the EIN really determines how you the address on the EIN and how you file your tax returns really determines, it really shows us how, if you are located in Philadelphia. If your business is in another county, for example, Bucks County, Montgomery County, there are other economic development organizations that are have their own application for the grant program. So if you have a location in those other counties, there is another application. Philadelphia, this application is only for Philadelphia-based businesses. Next is your NACI, your North American and I think Industry Classification Subsector Code. So that should be you should be familiar with that, and it should be on your tax returns. It should be shown as you're in the accommodation subsector of 721, beginning with 721, or the food service and drinking subsector 722 as your primary activity. Number 3 is you've documented 25% reduction in grocery receipts between 2019 2020, calculated annually or quarterly. You're a for-profit business. You have less than 300 employees. As of when we say entity-wide, again, that's based upon the EIN number. How many employees you have under that EIN entity. You have a maximum tangible net worth of no more than $15 million. You're in compliance with local, state, federal taxes. You have all the required federal, state, local licenses and permits. And again, you apply for one CHIRP program per Philadelphia County location, and that means per unique EINs. So if you have multiple locations, as long as each location has its own EIN number, each of those locations can apply for a grant program. Kirsty, did you want to add anything or clarify anything?
Thank you, Art. Just a quick note that we can determine your NAICS code. So we've been seeing some interesting business industries, daycares or beauty salons, and then they're coded as 721 or 722. So there's different places where we can see the designation. And if you have any questions, we have a dedicated email address, the CHIRP at PIDCphila.com, and you can ask any questions you would like. Yes, just make sure that the industry matches the NAICS code that is eligible for the program.
Thank you, Kirsty. Okay, now we're going to go through the priorities. So we talked about eligibility, but there's also, because we're expecting a lot of applications, we will have to prioritize which will get funded and which we will look at which will be scored the highest. And the program priorities help define that. So number 1, if you can demonstrate a 50% or greater reduction in revenue, as measured by gross receipts between second quarter and the fourth quarter 2019, as compared to the second quarter through the fourth quarter 2020, calculated annually or quarterly due to the financial impact of COVID-19. So again, we're prioritizing businesses that have seen 50% or more reduction in revenue. Second is they have not received another any loan or grant aid from another COVID-19 program, either coming from the city of Philadelphia, from the state, or from the federal government. If you've not received any financial aid in the past, your application will be prioritized. Next is your business was subject to the mandated closure by the Commonwealth's Proclamation of Disaster Emergency in March 2020. Next is your business is owned by historically disadvantaged people. So that includes Black, Hispanic, Native American, Asian American, or Pacific Islander. Next is your business located in high poverty areas. And then in addition, the program will also give consideration to businesses that are owned by women, immigrants, disabled persons, or veterans, earns less than $3 million in annual revenues, and provides jobs in Philadelphia.
Can I add something? And it goes in hand with the question on the chat. So program priorities doesn't mean eligibility. You should apply. We are encouraging everyone to apply. What this means is that depending on how many applications we receive, these will be given priority, but you won't have any chance if you don't apply. So we're encouraging everyone to please apply. And we cannot guarantee any loans. However, if you have a higher chance of getting a grant, not a loan, a grant, if you apply. So please apply. Don't assume you don't qualify, even if you have received funds. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to send us an email. But this is a specific program for the hospitality industry, and you can show that you have the 25% decrease, then by all means apply.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Kersey. Okay, here, next slide is we're talking about what you need to apply, what type of information, and what documents. So basic information you need to know about your business is the type of structure of your business. So you should be able to find this on your tax returns. What's your EIN number, social security number if you are a sole proprietor, your individual tax identification number or ITIN. Know what your NACI code is. You should also know what your annual and quarterly gross receipts are from 2019 and 2020. You should have those documented, and then also know the number of full-time and part-time employees you've had pre-COVID, so pre-February 15th, 2020, and then currently, like today. So documents you only upload is 2019 tax returns. If you have operations in 2019, if you were not in operations, I believe we are considering businesses that were in operations as of January 2020, or so you can show a profit and loss for 2020. Next, you need if your business was in operation in 2019, a profit and loss statement on a quarterly and monthly basis if in operations 2019, and a 2020 profit and loss statement on a quarterly basis. I don't think maybe you can clarify this, Kersey. We're not really requesting for monthly. And then lastly is a W-9 signed, dated, and completed. It has to be the October 2018 version, which is linked to the application. Okay. So this is, you'll find the application link on our website, pidcphila.com/CHIRP. Again, the application now is open. It goes up till April 5th, 11:59 p.m. So the applications are will be reviewed after April 5th. I think the reviewers are just looking now at the applications for completeness of information. Kersey, you can add information for that. But it's a program. It's not first come, first served. Applications will be awarded based on eligibility and alignment of program priorities. And that will really be, applications will be scored starting April 6th, right? Okay. Okay. So we'll go to the website later so you can see more information about the app and where the link is. If you need application assistance, so we're working with about 30 community partners. So these are mostly nonprofits and CDCs all around Philadelphia area that can help you fill out the application. And you can also ask questions. They've also attended similar webinars we're hosting now. They can also provide translation services. So there is a link that I will share. It is on the PIDC phila.com/CHIRP page. I'll show that where you can get the partner list. But again, if you need assistance, those community partners are there to help you out. Okay, and let's just start covering the common issues we've been seeing. Again, number one is W-9 is not the correct version. So you should be using the 2018 version. It needs to, and it's not signed and they are not dated. So double check that you have the right version, that it's signed and it's dated. Number two is the W-9 business name does not match the legal name on the application. So you have to make sure those match. Number three, the W-9 address does not match the address on the application. Again, those need to match. Number four, quarterly financials for all quarters are not uploaded on the application. So you can only upload one file, I believe, for the financials. So you have to, this is actually now on the FAQ, on the frequently asked questions document. You have to combine those files If each separate quarter has its own page, for example, you have to merge those onto one PDF. And if you don't know how to do that, you can Google it, or we also have some information on how to do that on the FAQ document. There are some websites that you can download tools to help you merge PDF files. Number 5 is the business is an LLC. The W-9 does not indicate the business structure is a C Corp or an S Corp. So that's an additional step you have to do if it's an LLC. You make sure you do that. And then lastly, please note owner is always counted as an employee in application. So you always have one employee at the very least. I don't think the application allows you to put 0 employees. But if you're getting an error message, you don't know why, you have to put at least one who counts as the owner. Kirsty, do you have any other common issues you've been seeing?
Those are the most ones that we're seeing so far.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, and proper tax form. So if you're a sole proprietor, individual, business owner, I'm gonna say a sole proprietor, you're a single member of an LLC, your tax form that you need to upload is a 1040. This is again for the 2019 tax returns. It's a 1040. If you're a partnership, you need to upload a 1065 tax form. And then lastly, if you're a corporation, you need to upload the 1120 and the 1120S. So, Kirsty, I have a question for you. Do you have to upload your entire tax return or just those pages?
Great question. For the 1040, if you have a Schedule C, we only need to see your Schedule C. You don't need to submit all the pages. And for the 1065 and 1120, only the federal returns.
Okay, so not state, just the federal. Okay. All right, thank you. Okay, so the application asks you about gross receipts, and you have to pull that from your tax returns. So if it's a 1040, the gross receipts can be found on line 1 of the Schedule C. So this is if you are a sole proprietor or a single owner of an LLC. For for partnerships, again, that's it's 1A, it's slightly different, but gross receipts can be found there on a 1065 form. Next, on the 1120, again, it's 1A, so it's just the top line of gross receipts and sales. And that concludes the PowerPoint portion. We'll go to the website now. I will switch over. Okay, so here's the page for our page for the CHIRP program. So it has, if you want to review again all the details I spoke about on the PowerPoint, it's all here. It talks about that again, lists out the eligibility of the program priorities, what you need to apply. So exactly everything we talked about. There are some templates here now we've uploaded. So if you don't have a template for your profit and loss, you can download one here and fill it out. You can also download one here for 2020. Again, this is for the quarterly basis for all quarters. And then you can also see the link here for the correct version of the W-9. You need to download, you need to fill it out, sign, and date. Again, here it talks about the deadlines. Here's the link for the community partners. So if you click on that, it'll bring you to a Google Doc that has all the information. So you can see there's over 30 partners here. And all of them are signed up to be partners and have the capacity to help you fill out the application. Okay, and then here's the application link. And additional resources too. So there are fact sheets. So if you need to see the information in different languages, there are other languages available here. And again, I think there's links here specific for the FAQ. I think this is also really helpful for very specific cases where you might need you have to ask a question. I also encourage you to read this document. And then there, again, the template for the profit and loss statement and the W-9 PDF downloads. You can also find those links here. Okay, so let's go into the application. Let me zoom in a little. Okay, so the application, again, it covers the first part, covers the background of the program. Again, there's a link to the community partners and a link to the W-9, the October 2018 version. So you'll see in the first page, it appears to be short, but it's because we have to first check off the eligibility requirements. That will unlock the rest of the application. So you have to just
Art, and can I
yes.
also mention that you cannot save the application. We highly recommend when you're ready to apply and you have all your documents to be uploaded to start the application then.
Yeah, so you have to do it in one sitting. You can't go back to it. You can't save it and come back. It only takes 5 to 10 minutes to fill out once you have all the information. But yeah, just do it in one sitting. Okay, so you have to self-certify that you are eligible, you meet these criteria here. So you're physically located in Philadelphia, check that box. You were in operation as of February 15, 2020, for-profit business. You have a NACI code that qualifies. You've documented 25% reduction in gross receipts. It's calculated annually or quarterly. Tangible net worth of no more than 15 million. Fewer than 300 full-time employees, compliance with all local, state, federal taxes, and you have required federal, state, local licenses and permits. So for these last two, you can actually go to the FAQ if you're actually unsure if you are compliant. There are links on the FAQ to check on those. Especially for food businesses, you can check on the LNI website if your licenses are up to date. And then also, I think city, local, state, and federal taxes, there are links to see you're current on your taxes. Okay, so once you tick all those eligibility requirements, the rest of the application opens up. If you are if you're working with a community partner and they're actually filling this out for you, this is where they would say, yes, I'm assisting a business owner completing this application. And then another, the organization's names will show up and they can choose their name and then just put the person who's actually filling it out. So this will give them credit for helping you fill out the application. But if you're, as the business owner is doing, you click no, I am the business owner. And this is where you put start putting your name. So I'll put Arthur Jimenez, the phone number of the business owner. So this is the number that the reviewer, if they have any questions, they will contact you. Kirsty, do they both call or email? What's the preference?
The first way of communicating would be email. And if we don't hear from the applicant, then we're going to follow up with a phone call or a text. But the first way of communication is going to be an email.
Okay, great. Thank you. So if there's more than one owner, you say yes. And so then you have to fill out information for every owner. In this instance, I'll just put I am one owner. It's just my business has only one owner. So I'll put my percentage of 100%. Oops, 100. I'll put that ethnicity and race I am. And then you can put other characteristics you identify with. It's not apply to me. Have you immigrated? Ask a question about if you immigrated to the United States within the last 10 years, say yes or no. My case is no. So legal entity name, so this should match what's on the W-9. So it looks like I have some previous entry there. So I'll just pick my fictitious name. arts restaurant. So the business name, if you have actually a fictitious name, you should actually enter it here, like a doing business as, enter that here too, but make sure that the legal entity name matches to what's on the W-9 and what's on your tax return. Okay, you choose the business structure of your business. So this, again, it should be confirmed on your tax return. So I'll say I'm a C corporation. And next one is what's your tax identification number? So I'll put an EIN, and then it has here. So this is the format you need to follow. If it's EIN, other formats will show that too. Okay, and then you confirm that here. Make sure you put that dash. So what if you have what's the race and ethnicity of the majority of the owners of the business owned operated by persons who are so for if it's only, so in my case it's only one person, so I put Asian, but if you have multiple owners you have to add up the ownership percentage and click here what is the majority. And next is same goes for the characteristics. Identify the year that year was established. I'll say 2003. So your primary NAICS code. So this should match what the business activity on your business tax return. So I'll say full service restaurant. So in the cases where, I think this is the only time now businesses are actually double checking the NAICS code on their tax returns. If it is incorrect and you believe it is, and you can prove that it is incorrect, say it doesn't show that you're in the restaurant business as your primary activity, and you have to provide backup documentation to show that you are actually are in the in those 721 or 722 NAICS codes. Kirsty, what's like some examples of documentation they can provide?
It's a great question. And if you see me typing, I'm answering questions on the chat. Yes, that's a great point. For now, we are asking for a list of clients showing that they're from Philadelphia, or permits, licenses, additional licenses. But one of the reviewers will be following up with you if you are not, if your address doesn't match. So we are not declining everyone. We're following up to, well, we will be following up to let them know, either send us additional documentation or you would need to reapply in your designated county.
Okay.
I hope that.
Thank you, Kirsty. So you have to put a reason here. Briefly describe how COVID-19 has affected your business. So I said the closure has caused my revenue to drop. Next question, how do you plan to use the CHIRP funding? So this is just generally, we just want to know how it's going to be used. We're not going to follow up with you and make you use it. Make sure you adhere to your choices here. We just want to have a general sense of how you're going to use the award. But if you are awarded, these are the grant funds have to be used in these categories and these types of expenses. So if yeah, so in my case, I say any additional furniture to make my restaurant COVID-19 compliant, and also my lost revenue. I need the grant to make up for lost revenue to make payroll. So that's that's legitimate use. A business address, so where your business is located. I'm just gonna put our address here. Mailing address. So this is important. So if you are awarded, this is where the check will be mailed to. So just make sure that you put the correct address or where you're going to receive them, where you receive your mail. I'm just going to put the same address for my case. And if your primary location is different from your business address above, please provide your operating location below. So this is mostly for mobile food truck businesses or mobile, food truck businesses mainly. Just let's say if you park your truck outside Philadelphia, but you really do business in, say, University City, you should just indicate that to really show that your business is located in Philadelphia. Next is the entering employment information. So here, the first box is you put your number of full-time equivalent employees on your payroll prior to February 15th, 2020. So the way to calculate that is to calculate the full-time equivalent employees, you divide the total number of hours of all employees were compensated for employment over the preceding 12-month period by 2,080 hours, which represents 52 weeks at 40 hours per week. So we've been getting questions about this, but as long as you adhere to this formula, you should have it, you should be able to get that number. So I'll put in this case, this is for my example, I had 10 employees before February 15th. And then my number of full-time employees currently on payroll, I'll say I have 5 right now and 1 part-time. Okay. And the full-time employees currently on payroll, that includes the owner regardless of the payroll status. There should be 1 or greater. Do not include 1099 employees. That should go, I'm sorry, that you should not include those. And the part-time employees do not also include 1099 employees. Financial information. So this will ask, again, the application will change here if it's depending upon if your operations in 2019, if you were open in 2019 or 2020. So if you click yes, this box will appear here for 2019 sales. If not, it'll just ask for 2020 sales. Okay. So here in 2019, I'll put my, for this example, I had gross receipts of $200,000, but my gross sales in 2020 went down to say $100,000. And what best describes the business in your current status with local, state, and federal taxes? You know, just be honest here as much as possible, please. So you say if your business is in compliance and does not owe back taxes. If you're on an approved payment plan, that's totally fine as long as you're following, you're in compliance to that. If you're in the process of getting approval of payment plan, I think that is acceptable too. But well, Kirsty, maybe you can add some light to this. Do they have to be on approved payment plan by the time, if they are approved, do they have to correct that before they actually get the award?
Yes, I'm gonna answer 2 ways. I think this is one of the easiest applications that I've seen where we trust the applicant and we are asking for a lot of self-certification. So we are asking that you are honest with your answers. We're not asking for any backup. However, if audited, you will need to provide backup. So if you are in compliance or if you are on a payment plan, or if you are in the process of getting a payment plan, just click on the option that applies to you. And on the frequently asked questions, there's also explanations on how to work on a payment plan if you need one. So first work on the payment plan and then you can select the appropriate option here.
Okay, thank you, Chrissy. Next, you have to check off here what financial aid your business received that's COVID-19 related. So if you are not listed here, you can click, if the program is not listed here, you know, this is the city programs, our PHL Restart loans. This is the statewide COVID-19 state grant. Another state grant, the working capital access loan. I mean, it was a loan in the beginning of 2020 provided, and SBA assistance. Any others you can check off here as well. Again, please be honest as much as possible. and accurate to how many of the programs you've received. Also be accurate here, how much, it'll ask you about what range of the grants you received. So please indicate that there. How will, and the last question is, how'd you hear about the COVID-19 hospitality or the CHIRP program? And this helps understand how you get information about this. And that's the last question. And the next part, well, if I click next there, I completed all the text boxes completely. If there's anything you missed before, if there will be an error message, it'll be on top of the page. And so it'll tell you what text box you forgot to fill out. So just look out for that if you can't go to next, if you can't, if the application won't let you move forward. And then here's where you upload the documentation required. So you can just choose the files here. I'm just going to choose the same file here for the W-9 form. Again, make sure it is the 2018 version and it's signed, it's dated. For the quarterly and monthly profit statements. Again, I'm sorry, for the 2019 tax return, a PDF file is accepted. And that's pretty much standard. But for the quarterly and monthly profit loss statements, we're only accepting a PDF, Excel file. I think the new or the old version Excel file. Okay, and then the quarterly or monthly profit and loss statements. Pick up, just pick any file there, just for this example, and that's it. So just make sure that you're uploading the correct file. If you do make a mistake, you can contact the review team at CHIRP at PIDCphilo.com. But just double check, make sure you're uploading the correct files here. And then lastly, it's going to ask you to self-certify the document. So number one, the information provided in its application and the information provided in all supporting documents is true and is accurate in all material respects. Number two, the applicant is operations as of February 15, 2020. Number three, the applicant remains in operations and does not intend to permanently cease operations within 1 year of the date of application. Number four, COVID-19 has an adverse impact on your revenues of your business. Number five, if awarded, the applicant will get to certify that the grant funds will be used properly. Eligible operating expense. If you need a list for what that is, you can look at the FAQ document on our website on the PIDCphilo.com/CHIRP. There's the link to the FAQ. Number six is the applicant has not received or will not receive another grant fund under the CHIRP program. So this is per EIN. So it's only one grant per EIN. Okay, and it says any additional information or documentation may be required during the review process. So this is when the reviewer will reach out to you if they need additional information. Okay, if it all looks good, then you can digitally sign here, putting your name and your signature. And then, yeah, so this is where you would submit the page. I would double check things again, just to make sure everything's accurate as much as possible. To the best of your knowledge, you're being honest on all the answers, and you cannot go back to update the page. So just, I encourage you to just double check, make sure all the information is accurate. Okay, and click submit. That's it. So then you get a message saying that you will be contacted after your application has been reviewed. Please allow 4 weeks after the April 5th closure. After the April 5th close of the CHIRP application period for the status update. So you should get you should still get a copy of your application and confirmation that the application was submitted. And if the review team has any questions, they will reach out to you. But approvals will not happen right after the April 5th deadline. It will probably takes about 4 weeks to go through the application process. And yeah, again, go to our webpage to pidcphila.com/CHIRP for, you know, any all the information that I covered here. Kirsty, do
Yes,
you want to
and
share anything?
yes, just please apply, please apply. We cannot stress it enough. And part of the reasons why we're doing these presentations is to get you ready to have, to make sure that you have all the documents you need, but don't assume that you don't qualify. Again, if you have any questions, send us an email. But if you are in those NAICS code and you meet the criteria, please apply. There's $17 million available. And remember, it's only exclusively for those two NAICS code. So over the thousands of businesses that are eligible, there's the 17 million available. So don't assume that you cannot apply. We're encouraging everybody to apply. Thank you.
Thanks, Kirsty. Have we addressed most of the questions in the chat?
Yep, I answered all the questions, mostly questions about NAICS code or asking if what are the chances of getting the grant. Let's see, documents to submit. Yes, if there's additional documents or explanations that you want to include, you would have to, there's only 4 options to submit documents, so you would have to merge it or include it into one of those documents. So it's either your taxes, your profit and loss for 19, profit and loss for 2020, and your W-9. Those are the only options. So if you need additional information, you can attach it there, and yeah, and we'll see it. And something important about this application is that it's manually reviewed. So we have a team of reviewers that are looking at the application, following up with the applicant, see if there's anything that doesn't make sense. We are not declining anyone. We're making sure that we have all the information. And as Art mentioned, no decisions are being made until after April 5th.
I think the only question that was not answered was from Greg. The documents to submit, is there an extra one to submit an extra documents like the tax payment agreement, liquor tax that we got behind on during the pandemic? I think you can hold on to it. And if there's, again, like if a reviewer has a question, they'll reach out to you and just have those documents handy so that you can send it to them in the case they ask for them. But it's like as Chris said, majority of the time we are just looking, you know, we're trusting that all information you put there is accurate. And you know, we're not requesting the additional documents as much as possible, just only ones that were required to be uploaded on the application.
And I'm typing the answer just.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions? And we have a few. We're still, it's at 10:48. We still have some time. But I also want to give Marla some time to talk about upcoming events. We'll give 1 more minute for questions.
Thank you, Arthur. I just want to, people can see the webinars that are coming up. And so we encourage you to either join us again next week or go to our website and you can get a replay of today's webinar, or you can do both. Join us next Wednesday again in case there are questions that come up between today and then. We also encourage you to take advantage of the immersive business education programs that are available free of charge here in Philadelphia. On tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., we will host an information session with the Community College of Philadelphia talking about its Power Up Your Business program. It is an immersive business education program that lasts for about 12 or 13 weeks. It is free to you. It is partially funded by the sugary beverage tax. So if you are in Philadelphia and you're buying those beverages with sugar, you know you're paying that tax. Well, a part of those tax proceeds fund this business education program. It is free to you, but you must apply. And so we encourage you to join us on tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. You can register on the PIDC website and hear more information about how that program is helping other businesses. We will have a panel discussion with business owners who have completed the program. And so you get the chance to hear from them as well as details on the program. COVID-19 resources, and that includes financial resources available through a number of entities. That is the federal government, the state government. Arthur, I don't think we have a local program right now. I think we just finished the restaurant and gym program. But on the federal government side, if you have not applied for the Paycheck Protection Program, the Small Business Administration is accepting applications through the PPP lenders up until March 31st of this, March 31st. And so that is a week from today, which is the last day to get your application in for the Paycheck Protection Program. We have not gotten updated information on the newest $1.9 trillion package, the American Rescue Plan, but we do know in that plan there are additional resources being allocated to the Small Business Administration for both the Paycheck Protection Program and the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program. But until we get more information on those programs, both the PPP program, the Paycheck Protection Program, it is still open and accepting applications until March 31st. And the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program, which is a loan, but it is a low interest loan of 3.75%. It is also accepting applications. The PPP loan, as most of you know, it is a loan, but it can be forgivable under certain terms and conditions. So that is what makes it so attractive. So we encourage you also, the Comcast Rise program, the grant program, the application deadline has already passed, but there is a second program with Comcast Rise that we encourage you to apply. It is not a grant, but it is for services. And so if your company needs consulting services, media services, technical support services, you may apply to Comcast Rise Business Services. And those awards are made on a quarterly basis. The next quarter, the deadline is May 7th. That's a program that's going to run until December of next year. So each quarter, it will make awards to businesses, not monetary awards, but awards for services. So there are several programs that are still available, and we encourage you to make sure you're taking advantage of all that is offered. Arthur, it is 10:53.
Yeah, if there's no other questions, if you think of one later on, you can email us at CHIRP, CHIRP at PIDCphila.com. And thanks for your time today. Please apply. Even though you think you might not be eligible, please apply. We're encouraging everyone to apply. and ask questions. And yeah, we're here to help. Again, the deadline is April 5th. Don't wait till the last minute, because you might have a hard time with the application or putting those documents together. So just apply early. Yeah, Kirsty, do you have anything else to share before we close up?
Just to reiterate, please apply, and also share this information with any other colleagues in your industry. Definitely, this is an important grant for the industry, and we want to make sure that everybody has access to it. So please apply. Thank you.
Thanks, Kirsty. Thanks everyone for coming. Okay, take care.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Marla.
everyone.